George Orwell's 1984 depicts a dark future with omnipresent surveillance, where thought crimes are punished by thought police and language is regulated by the government. So it might surprise you to learn that the happy-go-lucky OC star Olivia Wilde might just be the perfect person to retell this story. Here's ABC's David Wright.
The 2 minutes hate will begin in 10 seconds.
Big Brother is watching.
Another enemy of the party has been captured.
George Orwell's dystopian vision of the surveillance state.
I have to do something. Whatever the consequences, I have to do something.
1984, a Cold War classic everybody read in high school, now taking Broadway by storm.
Down with Big Brother! Down with Big Brother! Down with Big Brother!
Not exactly light fare for date night.
This show comes from a big place of anxiety.
Yes, anxiety
and
is
it
a
throws
big
a lot
buzzword
at
for us. Yes.
Model and actress Olivia Wilde is one of the stars. You may remember her from the hit series House.
I did good work yesterday, and I was still fired.
Where she played 13.
Hey, I'm Alex.
Before that, she was Alex Kelly on the teen drama The O.C.
My passion.
She also starred as Devin Fenestra
My heart is full.
in Mick Jagger's HBO series Vinyl. So, 1984 on Broadway is a bit of a departure for her.
So this is your Broadway debut?
This is, yes.
What an intense debut.
It is an intense debut, but I wouldn't want it any other way.
Sunday afternoon
Yes?
at 15, get the train. Get
Her
off-
character, Julia, is the ambiguous love interest who's either betraying the regime or betraying her lover. We're never quite sure which.
No love except love of Big Brother. No loyalty except to the party.
Ambiguous.
Ambiguous, yes, as Orwell intended.
Is she a collaborator or is she...
The question is never answered. I have an answer for myself.
What do you believe?
I don't know if it sort of ruins it to give it away.
Huh.
I think that
Tell
it's
me afterwards.
Yeah, I'll tell you afterwards.
The production comes at a moment when New York theater is a political hotbed.
Vice President-elect Pence, we welcome you and we truly...
Last year, the incoming vice president got an earful during the curtain call at Hamilton.
We are the diverse America who are alarmed and anxious that your new administration will not protect us.
Earlier this summer, Shakespeare in the Park staged Julius Caesar, complete with dark suits and Trump ties. That production targeted by Trump loyalists, eager to make a scene.
And now this.
Yeah.
How does this fit in to that conversation about politics and art?
Well, it's interesting because this is the least literal of all of those in terms of reflecting current politics. There's no one dressed up as Trump in our show. We're not diverting from the text to draw any parallels to today's world. It's just clear. When the audience hears words like "the truth matters," words matter, that's something that they recognize from their own lives.
Wilde points to moments like this.
Sean Spicer, our press secretary, gave alternative facts to that.
To demonstrate the play's relevance.
It was, of course, when Kellyanne Conway said alternative facts that 1984 shot to the top of the bestseller list once again.
If ever there were newspeak.
If ever there were newspeak, it has been coined and perfected by Kellyanne Conway and the entire Trump administration. I think people are sort of aware of, but they kind of would rather not believe that it was that dangerous.
We destroy the party with tiny, secret acts of disobedience.
In a way, Olivia Wilde was born to play this role.
Now, you grew up in a family that would certainly have been of interest to the thought police.
Yes. We wouldn't have lasted long. Thought criminals, unpersoned, the whole lot of us.
Her grandfather, Claude Cockburn, was one of the most famous radical journalists of his time, a contemporary of Orwell's. Wilde's uncle was Alexander Cockburn, a columnist for The Village Voice and The Nation.
His latest book is the soon-to-be-published Encounters with the Sphinx.
Alex Cockburn came on Nightline in 1990 to argue that communism was alive and well despite the collapse of the Berlin Wall.
I think the ideals that animated the communist movement or the socialist movement 100 years ago are still very much alive.
How did that shape who you are and your political awareness in dealing with this material?
I was raised to question everything. My grandfather was a great journalist, and he had a quote which I love, which is, "Believe nothing until it has been officially denied."
It's all lies. Anyway, you just
remember
said
who
so.
we're
There's
at
nothing you can
war?
do about it.
The show, for all its relevance, is based on material that predates the Trump era by decades. Wilde's co-star Tom Sturridge plays the main character, Winston.
95% of this text was written in 1949. This play was conceived 5 years ago in Nottingham, England, way before American politics has shaped itself the way it has right now.
Sure.
And so when people come into this space, they bring all of the things, the burdens of the world on their shoulders, but it's their interpretation, not us presenting something to them.
When this play was originally adapted, it was mostly about the NSA and about, you know, the revelations of Snowden and what people were suddenly realizing about how they were being monitored and what we were willing to give up in the name of security.
Part of the play takes place behind the scenes.
This is the little room where we retreat to during the show 4 times, and we run from the stage back here. Everything here is then broadcast live out to the theater. The idea is that Winston and Julia think they're in a private place.
Right. But the audience outside is watching it all, complicit in the surveillance.
The rats are everywhere these days. The city's crawling with them.
The intensity of all this takes a toll night after night.
That is what alcohol is for, it turns out. Turns out it was
Are
made
your
for
kids
Broadway.
in town? Do you go home and like
I do go
tuck
home.
the kids in at
They're
night?
they're asleep.
They're asleep.
Thank
Okay.
God.
Wilde is a new mother. She and her fiancé, actor Jason Sudeikis, have 2 young children.
What do you tell them about this world and what mommy's doing?
Well, it's really funny because my son loves to perform, he loves the stage, and I could barely tell him any bit of the plot. I look forward to doing something one day that my kids could see. So far, I haven't chosen one thing that they could see. One day, I'll get into like Toy Story 17.
Exactly. You can do the voice of a Disney princess.
Oh, a dream.
You were born in 1984.
I was born in 1984.
I remember 1984. And I remember in high school reading that book and thinking, well, George Orwell got it wrong. But now...
It was like sci-fi.
Right. It was
now
like
it's
still the
history.
distant future. And now it's kind of...
Now it's current events.
An old drama with new relevance in the era of alternative facts. I'm David Wright for Nightline in New York.